So, we are doing a search for our social work class, and our research question is, why is depression in older persons often undertreated? What impact does this have on families? So, we've done a search and we have our search results right here, our current search listed right here, what we have going on. We used our three of our major keywords: depression, older persons, and treatment. And then we added not schizophrenia with a Boolean operator because we kept seeing a lot about schizophrenia, and that's not something that we're trying to research. So if you look here, this is what we have going on. But we've exhausted our results in here and we would like to change it up a little bit. So we're going to take this one away and we're going to plug in some synonyms here and see what we can do with that. So actually, we are going to clear some of these out by just clicking on them to remove them. So we're going to click on the major subject heading ones to remove them, and we're just going to leave the limiters of scholarly peer-reviewed and then the publication date. So we're going to go back up and we are going to take this away, and we are going to put in a synonym of depression. So we are going to do sadness, and elderly, and therapy. And we're just going to see what we get. We only get 14 results. So that's kind of good because that's a very manageable search results. It may or may not be exactly what we would like it to be. So 14 is definitely one that we can review every single one of those in a pretty timely manner and see if they would have anything to do with our research question. So you do see that some of these are in a totally different language. So obviously we need to get rid of those just to be effective. So this is a good time to show you all the limiters that are available to you off to the side. So besides the major subject heading that I've shown you before and the scholarly peer reviewed and the publication date, we have subject, publication, publisher, language, age, gender, geography, industry, classification, methodology, tests and measures, and population. So there's all kinds of ways to limit your search results. Subject is very much the same as the major subject heading, so I always just recommend using the major subject heading. Publication is actually the actual journal that it was published in. This can be useful to a class that has a specific assignment that you need to pull only from social work journals. So if you look at the publication, you can whittle it down by clinical social work journal or clinical geriatrics, which may or may not be social work. So that's something you would have to delve into further to see if that was a medical journal or if it was specifically from social work. But this is one way to start whittling down a search if you know you have to only use social work journals and stuff written by social workers, which has come up, but not always. So you can also do publisher, which is who've actually just published the articles, which I've never had anyone do, but you can. Language. This is the one that I wanted to whittle out the two in Spanish. So we're just going to click English here. And so it's gotten rid of the two unless you can speak Spanish, which you might see if you want to leave it, but most of the time you don't. And a lot of times there'll be other languages in there as well. And then age. Age is great for social work. So we are looking for stuff that is related to people probably 65 and older. But we can also do 80 and older, 65 years and older, however it's put. So we would maybe want to click on all three of those, and that would whittle out some of like the middle age years and stuff like that. If we were talking about older females or older males, this is something that we definitely want to do. It's an easy way to just to limit it to only a certain gender. Geography is also really important. Say we want to keep our stuff within the US, so we would click on USA. Certain industry points, if nursing care facilities, individual and family services. Say there was something like that in our research question where we really needed to narrow it down. This is a really great way to do that. Classification I never use, but methodology is very heavily used. If you click on show more, it might not have a lot for this one. It only has empirical study, quantitative study, or interview because that's what's listed in the search results here. But this can be a wide range of things. It can be quantitative, it can be qualitative, it can be a longitudinal study, it can be a case study, interviews, empirical study, it can be focus groups, it can be a lot of different things. However, whatever method was used for an article can be listed here. So if we didn't have such a narrowed down search already, we would have more results here, but you could narrow it down by a specific methodology. And if your class, your assignment, or just your research would require something like that, this is a great way to do that. And the reason I always tell you to search in multiple databases and the ones that I've listed previously, which are CINAHL, Medline, PsycInfo, and ERIC, they do all search by methodology. So if you're searching multiple databases and you have those four clicked, then you can always use the limiters that are available in those databases, which is methodology. The last but not least is test and measure. So if you want to research something that was the research was done using a specific test or measure, that would be listed here. And then finally, population, which can be very similar to like age and age and gender, because you'll see female and you'll see male, but you also see human or inpatient and outpatient. So population, if you're trying to narrow it down to a specific population, not just by age, but by something different. And this is another limiter that's really great. So there we've gone through all the limiters, and I encourage you always to play around with these when you're in here searching. And once you play around with some of these other synonyms, then play around with the limiters.